It's here. And I had an earlier version of this too, which I still have the box for, but it's upstairs. These are the THX versions of the VHS. Now, these were not mine as a child, as a teen. I found them in my local thrift shop a couple years ago, and you can see that I was enjoying watching Jedi. Oh, well, scratch that. I did watch Jedi. I watched this version of it because it has the Nug Nugs. It has the Celebrate the Life song at the end. And that no longer exists. And that makes me sad. So that's why I kept the pre-97 versions of these movies, because that's what they should be. Okay, going. Now, here's my 2 cents as a PhD in English. We need to see those original versions. They need to exist, and here's why. Because there have been plenty of authors. Thomas Hardy comes to mind. Look up Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy's great stuff. You know, he wrote a lot of his novels, and then maybe 30 years later went and revised them pretty heavily, right? But you can still buy both versions of his novels. One, the revisions, and one in the original. And whichever one you'd like, you can read. And then the discussion takes place, depending on if you get a Norton Critical Edition or something like that. Discussion takes place as to the changes and why. And the scholarship on Thomas Hardy is all about a lot of these revisions and these changes that he made in like 1912 compared to his editions from the 1870s or 1890s or whenever. I'm not getting the years right, but I think 1912 was when he went back as a very old guy and rewrote a lot of these. And so whichever edition you're exposed to, right? It's still worthy to watch. So I'm not downgrading the 97 revisions. But as a writing instructor, as someone who appreciates literature and studies it, you can't study that without the originals. You can't. And that's why director's cuts exist, but the original that came out also exists because they're worth comparison. They're worth comparing, right? Plenty of other movies do this. You get to see the original director's cut. Look at the Blade Runner stuff. There's you can watch any version of Blade Runner you want. Why that's not the case here is troublesome. But no, I've never been in the mood to watch these movies since the 97 revisions. I'm going to call them revisions. I know documentary. People have been talking about this since 97. I know I'm hardly the first one. But the argument I've never heard is one that I kind of just made from a literary perspective. These films are literature, not the greatest literature, but you cannot deny their cultural impact. And by not issuing the originals, you're doing a disservice. Okay. And as for all the new stuff, I enjoyed The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. And that's about it.